I found the acceptance letter by accident, tucked inside a school folder I was helping Jake clean out one Saturday afternoon. A military boarding school, 3 states away, offering him a full scholarship starting that fall. He'd never once mentioned applying. My name is Ryan Mitchell, and this is the story of the day. I discovered my 13-year-old son had been quietly planning to leave home, and the reason behind it that I never saw coming.
It was an ordinary Saturday, the kind spent on small, overdue chores, cleaning out closets, sorting through folders of old school papers that had accumulated over the years. I was helping Jake organize a stack of binders when a formal-looking envelope slid out from between 2 folders, addressed to him directly. I almost set it aside without opening it, assuming it was something routine. But the return address caught my eye. Ridgeline Military Academy, a name I recognized from occasional conversations with other veterans over the years. Inside was an acceptance letter, dated 3 weeks earlier, congratulating Jake on his admission and full scholarship offer for the upcoming fall semester. I sat there for a long moment, reading it twice, trying to understand how my son had applied to a boarding school 3 states away without a single word to me about it. "Jake," I called, my voice steadier than I felt. "Can you come here for a second?" He appeared in the doorway, and the moment he saw what was in my hands, his face went carefully blank in a way that told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't a mistake or a misunderstanding. This was deliberate. "You weren't supposed to find that yet," he said quietly. "Jake, this is an acceptance letter to a boarding school 3 states away. When were you planning to tell me? After you'd already left?" "I was going to tell you," he said, sitting down slowly across from me. I hadn't figured out how yet." "Start now," I said, trying to keep my voice gentle despite the fear and confusion tightening in my chest. "Why would you apply to something like this without even talking to me first?" Jake was quiet for a long moment, staring at the table between us. "It's a really good school, Papa. Full scholarship, great academics, and it's the kind of place that could set me up really well for the future. A lot of guys who go there end up at good colleges or in the military if they want that path." "That's not really an answer to my question," I said carefully. "Why didn't you talk to me about this first? You know I would have taken this seriously, considered it with you, if that's genuinely what you wanted." He shifted uncomfortably. "I didn't want you to try to talk me out of it before I'd made up my mind." "Jake," I said, softening my voice as much as I could manage, "I need you to tell me the real reason, not the brochure reason, the actual one." He was quiet for so long, I thought he might not answer at all. When he finally spoke, his voice was smaller than I'd heard it in years. "Since Lily was born, I've noticed things are tighter. Money, time, how tired you and Sarah both are all the time. I did the math on what boarding school actually costs versus what a full scholarship covers, and I figured if I wasn't here anymore, one less person to feed and clothe and worry about, it would just make things easier for everybody, especially for Lily, since she's the one who actually needs everything right now." I felt something crack open in my chest, hearing this. "Jake, you thought leaving would be a gift to this family?" "I thought it would help," he said, his composure finally breaking, tears sliding down his face now. "I'm not a baby anymore. I don't need as much. I thought if I went somewhere that already had everything paid for, that would be one less thing you and Sarah had to stress about. I wanted to help, not to leave because I don't want to be here." "Jake, look at me," I said, moving around the table to sit beside him instead of across from him. "This family is not struggling because of you. You are not a financial burden we need relief from. Do you understand that?" But I heard you and Sarah talking about the budget last month, he said. About cutting back on things, being more careful with money since Lily's daycare started. Every family adjusts their budget when a new baby arrives, I said. That's normal, and it has nothing to do with you being too expensive to keep around. Jake, you are not a line item we're trying to reduce. You are our son. Full stop, no conditions, no cost-benefit analysis involved. He wiped at his eyes, still not quite looking at me. I really thought I was helping. I thought if I figured this out myself, quietly, it would just be one good thing I could give back after everything you and Sarah have given me. Sarah, who had come in partway through the conversation, sat down on Jake's other side, taking his hand. Jake, do you remember what I told you the night we found out about Lily? That this baby wasn't going to make you any less permanent in this family? He nodded, still crying quietly. This is the same thing, just from a different angle, Sarah said. You thinking you need to shrink yourself, or disappear, or sacrifice your place here to make room for your sister. That's not how this family works. We don't need you to leave to prove your love for us. We need you to stay exactly as expensive and exactly as present as you already are. I really am sorry, Jake said. I should have just talked to you both instead of trying to solve it myself. You should have, I agreed, gently. But I also understand why you didn't. You've spent a lot of your life learning to be careful with other people's feelings, sometimes at the expense of your own. That's something we're going to keep working on together. That evening, we sat down together to draft Jake's response to the boarding school, declining the offer with genuine gratitude for the opportunity, while making clear his decision had changed. Can I ask you something? Jake said as we finished the email. Is it okay if part of me is still a little sad about not going? It really was a good school. Of course that's okay, I said. You're allowed to feel two things at once, glad to be staying, and a little wistful about a door you're choosing to close. That doesn't cancel out the choice being the right one. Maybe when I'm older, Jake said thoughtfully. For actual college, maybe. Not because I'm trying to make room for anyone, just because it's something I actually want, for me. That sounds like exactly the right reason, I told him. That night, after Jake had gone to bed, I stood in the doorway of Lily's nursery, watching her sleep, thinking about how close we'd come to losing something without even fully understanding why. My son had tried to make himself smaller out of love, out of a misguided sense of sacrifice, and it had nearly worked exactly the way he'd planned. If you've ever tried to shrink yourself to make things easier for the people you love, if you've ever mistaken your own worth for a burden that needed managing, I want you to know, the people who truly love you don't need you to disappear to make room for anyone else. They need you exactly as you are, taking up exactly as much space as you already do. If this story moved you, let me know in the comments. And if you have a story of your own, share it below. It might just become our next episode. This is Silent Love, and this was a story about a son who almost gave up his place without ever needing to.